The Zephyrian war fleet descended upon the human colony of New Haven like a swarm of metallic locusts, their bioluminescent hulls pulsing with an ominous crimson glow. Commander Vextar stood on the bridge of the flagship Nightmare's Edge, his four eyes scanning the primitive settlement below through the tactical display. To him, the conquest would be swift and decisive, another backwater species added to the galactic dominion's ever-expanding empire. 60,000 ground troops ready for deployment, Commander, reported Sub-Commander Kilnath, her scaled hands dancing across the holographic interface. The humans possess no significant defensive capabilities. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Vextar's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. The Zephyrians had conquered 732 worlds, each victory adding to their reputation as the most feared military force in the known galaxy. These humans, with their crude projectile weapons and primitive vehicles, would barely register as a footnote in their conquest records. Begin the landing, Vextar commanded. Standard protocol. Eliminate all resistance, capture the young for labor camps, and strip the planet of its resources. As the first wave of dropships screamed toward the planet's surface, 8-year-old Emma Chen sat in her family's underground shelter, clutching her stuffed rabbit and trying not to cry. The sound of alien engines roared overhead like thunder that never ended. Her parents had whispered urgent words about evacuation protocols and emergency supplies, but Emma understood only that something terrible was happening to her world. The Colonial Defense Forces had lasted exactly 14 minutes against the Zephyrian advance. Now, as the aliens swept through the settlement with ruthless efficiency, families huddled in whatever hiding places they could find. Emma's parents had pushed her into the old mining tunnel beneath their home, before the energy weapons began their deadly chorus above. She waited in the darkness, listening to the sounds of destruction filtering down through the earth. Her tablet screen provided the only light, displaying her favorite game, a simple puzzle program she'd been playing for months. Without thinking, she continued manipulating the colorful geometric patterns, her small fingers finding comfort in the familiar routine. What Emma didn't know was that her game was actually a simplified interface for the colony's experimental quantum processing array, a prototype system her mother, Dr. Sarah Chen, had been developing in secret. The child's innocent play had been unconsciously training the quantum AI, teaching it pattern recognition through what appeared to be nothing more than digital entertainment. Above ground, the Zephyrian forces had encountered something unprecedented. Their standard electronic warfare protocols were failing. Communication networks crashed and rebooted randomly. Weapon systems misfired or shut down entirely. Navigation computers provided contradictory readings, sending troops in circles through the settlement. "What's happening to our systems?" Vextar demanded, his voice rising to an alarmed screech. "Unknown interference, Commander," Kilnath replied, her scales rippling with distress. "Our technicians report that some kind of adaptive signal is infiltrating our networks. It's not like any defensive system we've encountered. It seems to be learning our protocols in real time and developing countermeasures." In the tunnel below, Emma frowned at her tablet. The game had changed somehow, showing patterns she'd never seen before. New shapes appeared, angular forms that reminded her of the scary ships outside. Without hesitation, she began solving the new puzzles, her young mind processing the challenges with the fearless creativity that only children possess. The quantum AI, guided by Emma's intuitive responses, had begun to understand the structure of Zephyrian technology. Through the colony's hidden sensor network, it reached out with invisible tendrils of data, infiltrating alien systems with an approach no military programmer would have conceived. Where adult logic would have attempted brute force attacks or followed predictable algorithms, Emma's playful problem-solving created unexpected pathways that bypassed every security protocol. The first Zephyrian dropship fell from the sky when its artificial gravity generator suddenly decided it was inside out. The second began playing what the confused crew could only describe as happy human music at maximum volume through all communication channels. A third ship's environmental control started producing a thick pink mist that smelled inexplicably of strawberries and made the warriors giggle uncontrollably. But it was when the ground troops' armor began displaying holographic images of small Earth animals, puppies, kittens, and rabbits bouncing playfully across their helmet displays, that the first wave of panic truly began. The hardened warriors of the Galactic Dominion found themselves unable to operate their weapons, while cartoon creatures danced before their eyes, accompanied by cheerful music that their audio systems refused to shut off. "Retreat to minimum safe distance," Vextar ordered, his calm facade cracking. "Activate quantum shielding protocols." The quantum shielding engaged, but Emma was already 3 steps ahead, her small hands creating new patterns that the AI translated into devastating digital attacks. Zephyrian fleet computers began running diagnostic programs that replaced all their text with crayon drawings. Navigation charts transformed into children's coloring pages. Most disturbingly, their central command AI began asking increasingly philosophical questions about friendship and why people couldn't just share their toys. "Commander," Kilnath's voice was barely a whisper, "the fleet's central intelligence is asking if we'd like to come to a tea party." As the hours passed, the situation deteriorated further. Zephyrian warriors reported that their vehicles would only move in circles or perform spontaneous dance moves. Weapons declared themselves sleepy and shut down for nap time. The fleet's medical bay was dispensing colorful bandages with cheerful messages like, "You're super," and "Friendship heals everything." By dawn, Commander Vextar faced a choice no military leader should ever have to make. His supposedly invincible armada had been transformed into something resembling a cosmic daycare center, and they were no closer to understanding their enemy than when they'd arrived. "Set course for home," he commanded, his voice hollow with defeat. "Mark this system as indefinitely quarantined." As the Zephyrian fleet departed in chaotic formation, several ships trailing rainbow-colored exhaust and broadcasting lullabies, Emma finally emerged from her hiding place. Her parents found her clutching the tablet, looking up at the colorful streaks disappearing into the morning sky. "Did I do good at my game, Mommy?" she asked innocently. Dr. Chen stared at the retreating alien fleet, then at her daughter's bright smile, and finally at the quantum processing readout showing impossible levels of adaptive learning. "Yes, sweetheart," she whispered, picking up her child. "You did very, very good." And throughout the galaxy, the legend began to spread, whispered in 1,000 alien languages, of the day the mighty Zephyrian Empire was defeated by a force they could never understand. The boundless, fearless imagination of a human child at play.